guys, Kevin back here with Tiny. As you saw in the last video, we've already put in our intake, our inlet, our downpipe, our front pipe on the Type R here behind me. Today we're going to be addressing some of the most common issues with more of the direct injection in modern day vehicles. We're going to be installing a dual catch can setup from Radium here, as well as one of their coolant expansion tanks. Now this guy, not so much a necessity, however, it does replace that ugly factory piece that's in there, as well as hold up better to the heat over time, especially for you track guys, keeping it at that high RPM. Obviously going to have some more heat in there, so we want to make sure that it is not expanding under those pressures.
Running, you are all I needed, better now I'm buzzing. Yeah, she said I didn't.
All right guys, for our catch can setup, we have elected for Radium's dual catch can setup here. I got both of them in my hands. The big reason to do this is any of these direct injection engines are gonna have a crankcase ventilation system in place. It's gonna help to clean up a lot of this underhood mess that you see here, as well as help to catch any of that blow-by that would be recirculating back into the intake, eventually leading to carbon buildup on the valves, which we all know is a bad thing. So, catch can setup, we're gonna install that to help prevent any of that buildup.
Running through them words in my head. Where did you go? How come you up and left? Talking all shit to your friends. Waking up cold, got no one to impress. I said bye, 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 bye to all your bad vibes, all your wild lies.
All right guys, so after handling these, kind of taking a look at them, the quality on these pieces, Radium is awesome as always. Big shout out to those guys for hooking us up with these to put on the Type R, as well as their coolant expansion tank. So if I were to give a recommendation when it comes to a catch can, coolant expansion tank, whether that's on the Type R, whether that's on any of the other vehicles that we offer parts for, Radium, definitely a huge plus in my book. Check out any of their products, whether it's catch cans, expansion tanks, full fuel system, you name it, they're gonna have it. If you have any questions, definitely give us a shout, check out the website, and we'll be sure to help you out.
Running through them words in my head. Where did you go? How come you up and left? Talking all shit to your friends. Waking up cold, got no one to impress. I said bye, 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 bye to all your bad vibes, all your wild lies.
All right, so right now I'm just assembling this this whole catch can setup. We're almost done here. Just got the bracket tightened up. It comes completely disassembled. This tank is two separate pieces and there's a gasket in between it. Like everything comes apart, so there is some assembly required. Lucky for you, Radium has some great instructions on their website, and you can also kind of refer to this video on how things should look and how you should go about doing it. Pretty self-explanatory. This is a really nice piece. I'm a huge fan of Radium myself, and the fact that we're putting some of their parts in the car is awesome. They make great products and they look exceptional. That's one of the big things for me, is like it's a good working product and it looks amazing. So as you can see here, they include this nice little device here that indicates the level for you. You'd see this in like a lot of old hot rods or like custom motorcycles, and they've implemented the same thing here. It's just a clear tube that you'll be able to see the liquid inside of here, and that'll give you an indication of how full the tank actually is. So a nice little feature, and it makes it easier for you to keep up on the health of your vehicle and making sure that everything's running right and that you have a good level of coolant in your car. Gonna go ahead and start disassembling the factory stuff and get this in there. So we spilled minimal coolant, so that's chalk that up as a win. W for the boys. Bracket off. You take this off, no longer needed, so you can sit it next to your old thing. However, you will reuse the hardware, so hang on to that. So now I'm just gonna insert this hose here, just like that. Loosen up my clamp. Boom. Then this will fit nicely back where it went before. But to tighten this up, I need to take this off again. So if you're watching this at home, don't drop stuff all over your Type R. And also, don't hook this back up until you're done. Otherwise, you're gonna be sad.
All right guys, so as you can see in my hands here, Tiny was able to get the old one out. This one I'm gonna hold over here. Still has a little bit of coolant in it. Of course, you can see how, you know, this one does not look the best. Has a little bit of a dingy kind of yellow color to it. Only gonna look worse over time. The Radium piece is in, looks a lot better. Not too hard of an install either. Again, this is gonna help with that expansion as the car is heated, especially for you track guys. Really not too bad of an install. Only one bolt on there gave us a little bit of a trouble. Really just required us to kind of take out some of the bolts, move the bracket around a little bit. We finally got that situated and in there and topped off with coolant. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to that dual catch can setup from Radium now as well.
So now we're back at it, getting these brackets installed for this catch can setup. I took a look and saw how the orientation of these is. Something I really like about Radium stuff, with their amazing attention to detail, all of this is like keyed, so it only goes in two ways, and you have a 50-50 chance if you don't look at the pictures of getting it right. I looked at the pictures, so I had a 100% chance of getting it right. Just another really cool feature, like everything, all like countersunk, and it just fits really good. I'm always impressed with what they're pumping out. So we're just getting these put together so that we can get it, you know, as seamless as possible on the car. So another like cool like, I don't know, I love Radium. All their fittings are all like these swivel heads, so even when they're tight, they still have some range of movement, which just makes life so easy. Speaking of making life easy, ball head sockets, powered by Snap-on. If you guys, Snap-on wants to sponsor me, if you're watching this video, my wallet would really appreciate it. So I removed this clip here to get this fuel line out of the way. We used the mounting holes over here to mount one of catch cans. Ow. is a little crossover dilly-dally. It allows some fumes to go across. It's actually one of the coolest pieces I've seen. At this point, we're fully built. Build completed.
Just to give you guys a recap, again, we've done the install on the PRL intake, inlet pipe, the downpipe, front pipe, and now these two Radium pieces. Tiny just finished up installing that Radium dual catch can setup as well as that expansion tank on there. Again, we want to make sure that we're catching any of the debris, exhaust gases coming through that crankcase ventilation system before it goes into the intake and eventually covering up those valves. Expansion tank there, going to be helpful for the, obviously, coolant, but as it heats up, especially for the track guys there, we want to make sure that there's no expansion, and it looks a lot better there also. All right, guys, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you guys do have any questions, comments, have anything that you guys wanna see us put on the Type R here, let us know in the comments below. Keep an eye out for the future builds. We have some pretty awesome plans coming up. So again, that's gonna be it for this, but keep an eye on the future projects that we have coming here shortly.
I see a day, to see a job is what it made to me. Shit be freaking bravery. See, it's modern slavery. 9 to 5, grind and strive. Fucking nigga pay me less. It pay